And what's the site that you're on?
The site, I'm on UT Dallas campus.
UT Dallas campus. So this is Ivana. Come on, help me with that last name again.
Donez.
Dinez. Okay, Ivana Dinez from the UT Dallas. That's Dallas, Texas. And you are the co-lead for the Latinx caucus. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm really good friends with Alejandro Herrera, who is also the co-lead. Couldn't be on with us today, but he assured me that you are going to come in and you are going to handle it, no problem at all. So no pressure, Ivana, no pressure at all. But we are happy to have you today, and we're talking a little bit about the NIRSA caucus and trying to get the caucuses, in front of the NIRSA members because we want to make sure we're highlighting the great things that our NIRSA members are doing. And y'all have some great movement right now within the Latinx caucus. Now, y'all just had, now was this y'all first gathering of the year?
Yes, in October, that was our first.
First gathering of the year. So let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, talk about how you got to UT Dallas. How many years have you been involved in NIRSA? How many years have you been a NIRSA member? Have you been to any of the NIRSA conferences? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So I am a young professional. This is my third year as a professional in recreation, and I am a NIRSA member. I've been a member since 2023, if I'm remembering correctly.
Nice.
And I have had the opportunity to go to a couple conferences, which have been really awesome, great experiences for me. As the coordinator, facilities, and student personnel, obviously it's in my title. I help with facility operations. I help Alejandro with a lot of that, as well as our assistant directors.
Okay.
But on top of that, I also handle the student personnel within university recreation for our department, and it's primarily focused on their professional development as well as their overall physical and mental well-being.
Also, you're in the perfect position to be a NIRSA member and connecting people to NIRSA right there on your site. I absolutely love it. And then you have a great leader with you on that site. I am a big fan of Alejandro. If y'all have not, go and check out some of those short clips of me and Alejandro at conference in Orlando. Really great interactions, some funny interactions, had a really great time. So now let's talk about the Latinx caucus, okay? Y'all just met, have another meeting coming up in November, all right, that we're going to talk a little bit about later on. But let's talk about this past meeting. So first, what are some of the goals and expectations that you have for those new members to NIRSA who wants to know what the Latinx caucus is about, what any NIRSA caucus is about? Tell us a little bit about what those goals and those expectations are for the caucus.
Yeah, absolutely. So, me and Alejandro really wanted to be super focused on our expectations, not just for participants, but for ourselves as the co leads. We really wanted to set clear expectations for everybody, hold ourselves accountable to running this caucus, and then also just cover a blanket statement of, our main goal is to grow the Latinx caucus. We want it to be a strong community that people can use to connect and develop together professionally and personally. But overall, for our participants, we just, we ask that people be punctual. We ask that, they keep their cameras on because unfortunately we can't all be face to face across the country. So just keeping that camera on if they can to kind of match a name to a face, maybe meet each other in person, not muting all the time whenever, like, we want everybody to talk. We want everybody to really feel involved and feel that they can express themselves in this caucus. Being very respectful, being very open minded. It's all about sharing our experiences, sharing our opinions. So just being very respectful and open minded in the space is very important for us as well. Um, as the co-leads, we really just want to be very strict with ourselves, get on top of the agendas. We want to be very clear, very direct with setting the tone for the purposes of these meetings, for the purpose of joining this caucus. Invite those healthy discussions, make that, don't let people be afraid of the healthy discussions, because that's how we grow. We really want to bring a lot of unique ideas to this caucus. And knowing Alejandro, for any people that do know, I'm sure you know Lamont, Alejandro is a big thinker. So it really is amazing the things that he
That's what I love about Alejandro, because I too am a bit thinker. Sometimes we need people to ground us a little bit. So because we're trying to shoot to the moon with everything. One of my best friends told me everything can't be the Super Bowl. You get me and Alejandro together, everything is going to be the Super Bowl.
oh gosh.
But listen, but you did mention one thing about being strict. You and Alejandro being strict as leaders, and I think that's so important because you're not taking up people's time. This is time well spent, but people are investing time in coming to these caucuses. So you don't want to be wasting people's time. You want to make sure you're on top of those agendas. You want to make sure that people are actually gaining from the time that they spend. So that is a great point that you just made. Go ahead and finish your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, we really want there to be purpose. We want to promote intentionality. So, really highlight the different ways, ideas, and initiatives and how they can be applied, not just in their professional time, but also in their personal growth. We also are very, very focused on feedback. This is my first time doing anything this big. This is Alejandro's first time facilitating an entire caucus. So we're being very intentional with keeping an open line of communication with feedback. We want to make sure that, we're going to have a million ideas of how we think everybody could benefit. But I'm sure there are plenty of things that we haven't thought of, and we want that feedback. So we have various avenues of feedback for all of the Latinx caucus members, and then for people wanting to join, we have various avenues of feedback that we're really starting to push out and develop, and being very consistent with our follow-up. So following up after our meetings to kind of give a quick run through of, this is what we went over, this is, these are some of the goals we set for ourselves, and this is something we have to look forward to. And then obviously pushing our next meetings, because we really want to we want to grow the exposure. We want to grow the community. But those are our big expectations.
Good stuff. So let's talk about the identity and representation side of this. Okay. Now, I got an email from Alejandro, and it was saying, when it comes to identity and representation, I want to make sure I get this right. There's challenges. Y'all want to talk about the challenges. Y'all want to talk about the successes, and y'all want to talk about the representation and leadership. Talk a little bit more about that. Those are three great points made when it comes to identity and representation.
So when it comes to talking about identity and representation, we really want to hear everybody's perspectives. For that first meeting, we essentially focused on, an individual around the table. What is your definition of, representation in the workplace professionally? What's your history of how the Latinx community and its allies have been represented in society, and just kind of share our experiences to help each other grow and benefit off of them. Everybody is in a different point in their journey. So really hearing from people who are in more of a mentor position, hearing them talk about how they overcame things is really beneficial for other people who are a part of this caucus, who maybe are trying to find that way to show representation in the workplace or in their personal life. So we really focused on that as our main topic for October.
Great stuff. Now let's get into a little bit of history and tradition here. Okay. Now you got to help me with this. Big in the Latinx community is Dia. Come on. You got to help me with it. Dia de los Muertos. Look. Spanish 2 was as high as I got. As high as I got, and I barely passed it then. But now, say that again. What is it?
It's Dia de los Muertos, and for the record, I do not speak fluent Spanish. I do not speak fluent Spanish. I try my best. Alejandro helps me a lot.
Nice. Good. So you make me feel a little bit more comfortable with me.
I got you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that.
So I guess one of the little things that we're doing in all of our monthly meetings is kind of throwing out some kind of Latin celebration holiday to kind of bring it to awareness. Something like Dia de los Muertos is kind of, at least in Texas, it's very commonly known. There are a lot of different, I guess, beliefs about Dia de los Muertos that aren't exactly true. Like a lot of people think it's the Mexican Halloween, which it absolutely is not. But kind of bringing awareness to all these different celebrations. Dia de los Muertos, specifically Day of the Dead, is more of a celebration of life. It is a belief that essentially during this period, the past loved ones can come back to visit their relatives, their friends, and there are various traditions that are used. They're like kind of like ofrendas that people use to kind of represent their loved one, and they'll leave offerings to kind of entice their loved one to come visit them to, I guess, kind of just check up on them, let them feel their presence, and as a way to celebrate their life after death, to make it a little bit less sad in itself.
Okay, all right. I love hearing about other cultures. I really do. I love it, and that is interesting. You know, the closer, and I hope I don't want to. The closest I have gotten to that type of understanding is a movie called Coco that came out not too long. That came out. That is, but I love hearing about other cultures and the different traditions that are in these communities, and this is what this is about. This is about highlighting the people in this community and connecting them across the whole NIRSA network, So look, if you have not been involved, if you missed the first meeting, you have a chance coming up. We're going to go ahead and prep you right now. November the 19th. November the 19th is the next Latinx caucus. Get involved. So can you say that in Spanish? I don't want to put you on the spot because you said you can't say get involved. Oh, Ivana!
No, no, I am so, no, I cannot. I'm telling you, I cannot speak it. I can kind of understand it. Speaking it, I have no confidence.
So look, and so hey, and so if you're worried about not being able to speak Spanish, so you don't know, you can still get involved with the Latinx caucus November the 19th. Some of the things that y'all are going to be talking about on November the 19th. Building meaningful programming, and also ways to celebrate Mexican history in programming. Amazing. Amazing, because again, I see I'm not too long removed from working on sites, and these are the certain things that we as programmers need to be thinking about when we're developing these programs over the year. How do we always talk about inclusion? That was in every staff meeting. We talk about how do we get people back to the building? How do we get people to be involved in these programs? And you talk about inclusion. What are the things that we're doing as programmers to try to make sure we're including all of the different communities? So with the Latinx community, y'all are thinking of ways to create Mexican history within the programming?
So it's really more of a like, even as somebody who identifies with the Latinx community, I am Hispanic. There are so many things about my own heritage, my own ethnicity that I'm not even fully aware of. So it's really just kind of bringing to light to everybody. Like these are ways that they're celebrated. These are ways that can feel welcoming, and kind of just finding ways to keep programming, to make programs available to literally everybody, to make it where nobody feels left out.
Absolutely amazing. Ivana, you have been great on today's show, the NIRSA Caucus's show. We're highlighting the Latinx caucus. Ivana, thank you so much for joining us and giving us just a brief little peek into what's going on within the caucus. And look, I hope that we have sparked some of y'all attention here that look, we have some members that are boots on the ground doing some really great things to make sure our NIRSA network stay connected and our NIRSA network stay supporting each other and our NIRSA network is getting all types of education, diverse in the types of education that you're getting just being a part of NIRSA. So Ivana, thank you so much for being a representation for the Latinx caucus. I'm telling you right now, when we do this again, we might leave Alejandro. Alejandro, we don't need you. You keep doing the work that you're doing with Ivana, and you let Ivana take this stage because she has done amazing today. Ivana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite. As much as I would love to be here every single time, I must say I am the opposite of Alejandro. I humble him a little bit, and he humbles me vice versa. He gets me out there. I'm gonna let him take this next one.
Absolutely, look, and this is absolutely amazing that y'all are new to this type of work in NIRSA. And again, this is what the members need to see, right? You said first time doing something this big. Alejandro's first time leading something like this. Y'all are setting the foundation for those future first timers that's coming up. We have a lot of new members to NIRSA and to the inner workings of NIRSA. So y'all are a great representation of the work that can be done within this field. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see y'all next time, November 19th, the next Latinx Caucus. Make sure you go to the website, check out all of the different things that they have on the website. They have all of the different dates on the website and different ways for you to get involved. Please make sure you take some time to check in and see the things that can help you be a leader in collegiate recreation. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.